Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Two in the Zone. We're recording Wednesday, November 24th. This is 11:30 in Central Time. It's only 12:30 over where Dead's at. But thank you again for jumping back, Dead Press Picks, as well as Analytics Capper. I guess really quick recap yesterday. There wasn't much action in the NBA. It's a huge slate tonight, so we'll get to that. But before we do, I just want to, shout out Dickie V real quick. I mean, a lot of us saw that video last night when he was commentating for Gonzaga UCLA, broke down live, on TV, and just, I don't know, that like wave of emotions got me dead. So I just want to say, like, anybody who's out there who's dealing with cancer or have friends or family that are dealing with cancer, like, definitely, put your support in them. Send your prayers up to them. But yeah, cancer sucks, man. Dad, how'd you feel about that moment?
Yeah, it was an awesome moment to see because obviously everything he's done for the game. Growing up, and pretty much I think most generations, he's just the voice of college basketball. So it really made me fall in love with the game. Had so many great calls that you would imitate. Everyone would imitate. Yeah, that Dickie V does. So yeah, definitely best wishes to him. But it was obviously super inspiring. I mean, his whole life, he's pretty much dedicated it to helping, childhood cancer. Now you see him battling it on his, by himself, and he's got great support system, and we send prayers to him. He told the story after too on Scott Van Pelt. They actually thought it was a much more serious form of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because he's such a positive guy. He even makes light of having it, right? Like he finds the positive in it. So yeah, best wishes. But it was very moving, AC, very inspiring. And it's great to have him on call last night.
All right. Thank you, Dad, for those words. Just a quick, sponsor here. Seven Stack Sports is our sponsor for this NBA show. We record every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Because of Thanksgiving week, we recorded one yesterday and one today. And then we'll take Friday off. But thank you so much for Seven Stack Sports for everything that they've done for us. We're going to continue this NBA show. We're averaging about 4,000 to 5,000 viewers each time we record. So, it's getting a lot of attention. It's also a great book. Like if you're looking to add something to your, toolbox, they do minus 105 lines in the NBA as well as the NFL. They do same day payouts if you're using cryptocurrency, 24/7 customer service. Definitely DM them and get set up. Let them know either AC or Dead Press sent you, and he'll hook you up with either an awesome bonus or like an odds boost or something. So, all right, let's get into last night. Dead, I know you had one game. You went 1-0 in the NBA. It was an awesome cover. I
Mhm.
watched the end of this because the Knicks were up 25 in the second quarter. Looked like it was going to be a runaway. Lakers and Russell Westbrook actually went off in that third. I think he scored 18 or 19 just in the third. But
Yeah.
they covered. They were down 6, I believe, with like 25 seconds left. They missed a shot. They decided not to foul, and the Knicks just dribbled it out. Man, that is a nice win, Dad.
Yeah, it had a weird feel to it towards the end. A little bit of why aren't they fouling? Because six, but we know the NBA, they don't always foul at the end of games, but hell of a run late. That thing closed about 4.5 AC, so, it wasn't, the line movement late really moved to the Knicks with how it closed, because it actually, when you and I were recording, it was at 7. So, we saw that thing move a lot throughout the day. Like we say, we record these today. We're even recording earlier here at 12 o'clock Eastern time. So the lines, what we currently have, they're going to move, obviously, throughout the day. I think Anthony Davis had an illness. It seems like he is always questionable, but really it was a hell of a cover for the Lakers. Tough beat if you were on the Knicks early in the day and got them at like -7 or 6.5. But it was one of those games where people still covered on both sides, because some people probably got the Knicks late at 4.5, and then there's probably a lot of people who jumped on the Lakers like I did earlier in the day at 7 or 6.5.
For sure. And I mean, this is a sneak peek to later, but I do like fading the Lakers tonight.
Mhm.
I had one play yesterday. It was just a really small 1 unit player prop. It was Kate Cunningham over 27.5 points, rebounds, assists. He did not even get close to that. He almost had more fouls than points. So it was a terrible miss on my part. Detroit, I think covered, right? They lost 92-100. I think it was an 8.5 or 9 point spread, and they
Hero
covered.
missed
So
a here at the end. They almost did get the cover, but Hero split. But the Pistons controlled that game honestly until late.
all game long, pour one out to our friend Joe's picks, man. Pour one out for him. I know he was on the heat there.
Yeah, he had the heat. That it turned into one of those games that was almost like a bad beat for both. Like it would have been awful if the Pistons didn't cover, but then again, like Hero's a 90% free throw shooter.
Yeah.
You're assuming he's going to step up and hit too. So yeah, it would definitely feel for either of those backers if they lost that one. That would be a tough one.
All right, and then 2 games left. We had the Nuggets and the Blazers. The Blazers just dominated 119-100. I think it was close early, but then CJ McCollum hit a couple like buzzer beaters at the end of the third quarter, and I think also at halftime as well. So they just pulled away. The game of the night was the Mavs and the Clippers in LA. The Clippers came out to an early lead. I was watching it because I had a personal play on it myself, and also Dallas is my team, as you know. But I like the line movement there, and I was on it before the Luka news. So the fact that he played, I was like, okay, this should be good news. But Clippers had control mainly in the first half. Then Dallas took it over in the second half, and Dallas was up 8 points with a minute left in regulation and blew that lead. Paul George hit a game-tying three-pointer, and I'm just texting, our group chat. I am so mad at our friend Slam the Bookie because he had already recapped the Mavs win. I was like, oh my gosh, you don't know how much money I have on this.
Yes,
yeah.
Well,
but the Mavs dominated in overtime. They only gave up 1 point to the Clippers in overtime.
it was pretty crazy. Truth be told, I did try and hop in on the Clippers live when they were like plus 400, just for a little peanut action, trying to get something in. So that I ended up clicking the game on, and yeah, it looked pretty dead. I mean, they were up by 5 with like 4 seconds. So the odds were six with 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And then Maxi Kleber, who I didn't even realize how good of a free throw shooter he is. They said it was like his first.
He's a great shooter, man.
Like first miss in like 50 tries.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. At that point with 1 second, we always have the foul, no foul debate. I understand 1 second, it's tough to foul because you're scared of the shooter gun up. But I mean, it took an absurd shot to hit.
It was an amazing shot. Yeah.
He fumbles the ball, finds where he's at on the court, steps back, and then ultimately with a hand in his face, I think it was Finney Smith. He was right there. Good defense.
Yeah, but that's like the career of Paul George, right? Like he's gonna have this amazing shot. He ties it, goes into overtime, and then in overtime he goes 0 for 2, 0.0 rebound, 0 assists.
The only point they had wasn't it on a tech
free throw?
Yeah,
it was a tech.
Yeah, tech. So I mean, they didn't have a field goal in that game. Their team total actually stayed under in that game, AC. So
that's crazy.
That's tough. But yeah, I was happy for you because ultimately I did not have any like true action in the game. I hopped on, like I said, for fun on the Clippers, but it was an impressive win. Obviously, Luka was great, but Porzingis was the X factor in that overtime.
Yeah, KP, man. If you look at KP, I kind of looked at his game log and I took a screenshot of it. I'll let you know right now. So in his last 5 games, 30-7, 25-8, 23-12, 29-11, and 32-7. Like the guy is balling right now. Nobody knows about it because it's Porzingis and it's Dallas. But without Luka, he's been the number 1 option. I want us to trade him because it's like his peak trade value right now. But I'm sure Jason Kidd wants to keep him, and he thinks that he could fit with Luka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would hang on to him. I kind of always thought he got a little bit of the short end of the stick. He could still play, right? Like they're a much better team.
Our boy Alpha Dog Bets hates Kristaps Porzingis. So every time Porzingis does well, I text Alpha.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into tonight's games, Dad.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start here, AC. We have a pretty loaded slate. I know you and I were talking before. We obviously know people want this, to get into the picks for tonight. Let's start with the Suns and the Cavs. I was talking about how great the Suns have been playing of late. Line at 7.5. Do you think that's too many points for the Cavs to get? We obviously know that they've had some injuries, but they've also been able to regroup. They're getting healthier of late at the moment. They have a lot of guys kind of day to day. I see Osman's day-to-day, Garland's day-to-day. Obviously, you want to make sure those two are in. We know Sexton and Mobley have been out. But do you think 7.5 is too many points here at home for the Cavs?
It's tough because they just had a really nice cover against the Nets. The I thought the Nets came back late in the fourth, and I thought not only were they going to win, but they were going to get the cover. Laurie Marketing ended up hitting a pretty crucial free throw that helped the Cavs cover. Actually, I lean the other way here, and I'm usually not a chalk better, like
Mhm.
but it's fading the Suns right now is kind of like catching a falling knife, right? They're so hot. They've won, I don't know, like 12, 13 in a row. They haven't covered in all of those games, obviously, but I think they covered tonight. I mean, it's a steaming road favorite, which I like as an angle. Sad news for the Cavs, man. Colin Sexton is actually out for the remainder of the year with like a torn meniscus, so that's a big loss for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough backing this Cavs team because they seem like they're still playing at a decent rate, even without these starts. But you just feel for them, right? Like they were playing so well with Sexton and Mobley, and now the absence of those two, I think over time it's just too much for them to overcome. I agree. I think this will be a game I stay away from, but if I had a lean in this game, my lean would be actually with the Suns, who are playing some great basketball at the moment. All right, AC, you were just talking about fading this team, the Lakers, Pacers tonight. I see 4.5 right now for some places. What's your thoughts on this one? You think this is a good Pacers play?
Yeah, this is a free play. It's going to be a VIP play for me, and I'm very low volume when it comes to NBA right now, but it's Pacers. I got it early at 3.5. I posted it at 4. It's up to 4.5, like you said. Anthony Davis is playing, and I think LeBron James is back, right? Because it was just a 1-game
Right, with
suspension.
one game, yeah.
But the Pacers are really good at home. They're getting healthy again. I know you and I love Malcolm Brogdon.
Mhm.
That front line should dominate the Lakers front line because it's really just Anthony Davis and a bunch of scrubs. I think the Pacers roll tonight. It's a weird line to me. It's the second night of a back-to-back for LA as well. They're traveling from New York to Indy. So give me the Pacers tonight. I took it at -3.5, but I think it's okay at -4.5.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for the Lakers. You mentioned obviously you do get LeBron back, but Pacers have been pretty good in these kind of spots, right? So I'm kind of with you here. I don't have a play in this game. I've actually backed the Lakers a lot this year as dogs, and I've had success with it. But again, it's a tough spot to back the Lakers again tonight on a back-to-back. Despite yes, LeBron revamped a little bit, but we shall see in that one. All right, Hornets, Magic. Magic 4-14 this season. We've mentioned the Hornets kind of heating up. Spread is currently at 7. I'll take this one here, AC, first. I think that this could be a good play for the Hornets tonight. I think they can just kind of roll through this Magic team. Again, Magic injuries currently, I mean, they have a lot of guys day-to-day, questionable. Cole Anthony now dealing with an injury. So I think they're a tough team to back at the moment. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this one.
Yeah, the Hornets, like you said, are rolling. They're 6-1 straight up in the last 7, and then you look at the other side, the Magic are just trending down. They have a couple, talented guys. If you look at Mo Bamba's numbers, for example, they're crazy. He's averaging like 2 blocks, 2 steals a game, but they are 2-7 straight up in their last 19 at home, and only 1-8 against the spread at home. So this is a tough call to back the Magic. It looks like a Magic play, but I'm going to lean with Dead here. I do like the Hornets. They're just a way superior team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's tough to back the Magic in this spot with the questionable injuries, especially with Cole Anthony. All right, this is probably going to be the most bet on game of the night. ESPN, Nets and Celtics. Currently, the Nets is -1 point favorite. Right, we kind of know about how they've struggled at times this season against these type of teams. They are coming off of 3 straight wins after that bad loss to the Warriors, but those opponents, the Cavs, the Magic, and the Cavs again. So they haven't really been tested of late. The Celtics coming into this one, 10-8, playing with a little bit of momentum all of a sudden, 3 wins in a row, including a really big win over the Lakers. They just beat up on the Rockets a couple of nights ago. Jaylen Brown was. I think it's a Celtics play here. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I guess the first thing I want to say is a caveat for both myself and Dead. We're recording this, at 1 p.m. on the East Coast, so these are still just leans. These are not official plays, so just want to make sure, like, if we give something out and it's not on our VIP card, it doesn't mean that it was supposed to be. So
We're not giving.
I Yeah, or give two sides, like you said. Honestly, for the Nets, it's a hard backing for them. I think they're missing. I think Joe Harris is a big miss for them. Like,
Good
there's
point.
no Joe Harris. We already know Kyrie. Today, there's also no Bruce Brown or Nick Claxton. That's three guys in their basically top 8 or 9 rotation players. So they're leaning heavily on KD and LaMarcus, really, because Harden hasn't had a really great season so far. This to me is a Celtics play. It's +1 at home against a very public team like the Nets. But again, no official play for me here. I would lean Celtics with you though.
Yeah, it's a tough call here. I don't love fading the Nets in this spot. Celtics are a weird team. Like in these type of spots, they always seem to answer the call. All right, so we'll move along here to the 1-win Rockets tonight, facing off with the Bulls. Bulls currently -9.5, -10, kind of depending where you look. This is very odd to say for me, but I kind of like the Rockets. They have one win,
Ooh.
yes, but if I can get them at 10, I think 10's a lot here. It's kind of just like a weird spot for the Bulls, in my opinion. We still don't know, right, with Caruso. Honestly, it's an injury that we have to watch because, like, he means a lot to that team.
He does.
Enough. What's your thoughts on this? It's terrifying to back the Rockets, but they look kind of good tonight.
This does remind me of a few weeks ago when you and I were both on the Rockets. And the Rockets are tough. They're a bad team, but they did cover 2 games ago against the Knicks. The
Mhm.
Bulls are coming off a embarrassing loss against the Pacers. Everybody's probably looking at a bounce back spot here. So I think the contrarian play would be Houston at home. Maybe Chicago's looking ahead, right? It's Thanksgiving tomorrow. They're on the road. Maybe they're looking ahead for that. Who knows? This is probably a layaway, stay away game for me, but the Rockets have all the value because they are at home during the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough game to kind of stay one sided on. If I don't want to commit to the Rockets at this point because bad, but my lean would be there for sure. All right, AC, Grizzlies and Raptors. This kind of looks like a good spot at home for the Grizz to me. Coming off of that phenomenal win we mentioned with Jaren Jackson kind of hitting that crazy shot at the end of the game. Raptors have been a bit disappointing this year, playing under 500, but can you blame them at times? Siakam was out, OG's been out for a while now. So it's kind of like they're two, I don't know if they're their two best players. You got Van Vliet as well, but two huge pieces for their team. They haven't had the whole team together. What's your thoughts on this one tonight? I believe the Anthony Melton also for the Grizzlies is out. I don't want to be quoted on that because we know the NBA, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if the Grizzlies want to be the team that you want to be in, that's a solid playoff team in the Western Conference. These are the games that they need to take care of. The Raptors are not a good team. They're only 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. This is a road trip for them, a long one. They've been on the road for a while. Again, it's the holidays, so the guys may not be completely focused. So Memphis should roll here, but I think my best angle here is the over. Memphis's defense is not very good. And with Siakam on the floor, Toronto's going to play a little faster than usual. So I like the over here. Again, just a lean, but yeah, probably Memphis and probably the over.
Yeah, I think it's a Memphis play here, AC. I mean, it's a tough team to back right now with the Raptors, right? With OG, he's been out, like I mentioned, also Siakam. This kind of seems like a bad year so far for the Raptors, and like I said, a lot of that has to do with injury. All right, Bucks, biggest spread of the night here, -15 against the Pistons. We mentioned Pistons coming off a back-to-back. Is 15 enough points? So the Bucks cover that big 15-point spread?
Yeah, Bucks cover this easy. I'm not gonna bet it because it's super, super chalk. Super, super favorite. But the Bucks are just way better. They're at home again. Give me the Bucks in this game. That's my lean.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough one for me. Ultimately it's probably a stay away. I am not backing the Pistons with 15 against the Bucks. I think the Bucks are go crazy. Maybe like a Bucks team total over here type of game. I think offensively they should have their way. All right, we were talking about this one before we hopped on air. AC, the Timberwolves. All of a sudden, the Timberwolves they kind of took a little bit of a turn for me. Now they've been good to me of late after they weren't to start the season. But I want to ask you about this one because I think this is an interesting line. The T-Wolves at -1 here. We know the Heat again on a back-to-back. They kind of had to fight hard to win that game last night. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought Bam was actually going to sit out tonight, but he's confirmed active on a second night of a back-to-back. So this kind of muddies it for me. I actually really liked the Timberwolves before we got on air, but with Bam back, and I like Bam a lot just because of versatility, both offense and defense. This is a stay away for me, but I still lean the Timberwolves. I think they're playing really well. I think they've won 4 straight now, so. Again, I'm going to side mostly with the home team during the holidays. I just think that's a huge disadvantage for someone who is maybe thinking about their kids or their families or friends back home and they're sleeping in a hotel room. I think that's just a bummer, right? They want to be home with their family. So I like the Timberwolves here. Very, very short spread. I think it's a pick 'em at this point, but I lean Minnesota dead. What about you?
Yeah, it's a good point you make too, AC. This time of year, I was listening to people talking about that yesterday with the NBA. Sometimes there's just games where Isaiah Thomas was talking about when he played the holiday season. I mean, you have to remember these are human beings, right? Like they want to get time with their families, take some time off. So these type of games, a lot of times these guys have family coming in, that type of thing. So it's a real factor that you have to factor in this game. I'm with you though. I like the T-Wolves in this spot at home. Obviously, I wish Bam wasn't playing, but again, the spread probably wouldn't be where it is if he was playing. So I will be taking them. AC, here we go again with the Pelicans. +4 against the Wizards. I mean, are the books just like, what are they doing here with these spreads? The Pelicans seem to never cover them either. I mean, against the Clippers, I give them credit. Yeah, they did. But then there was just all these other games where they haven't been. Remember, this is a rematch from Monday the 15th. So these teams met up about, what's that, like 10 days ago? What's today now? We got the 24th. So about
4th, yeah.
Wizards and Pels met up. What is your thoughts on this one? Because I think that this is just another game. I can't touch Pelican games because these lines just scare me. I got to get what you think on this.
It's super scary. I'll offer the expert analysis right now. It just depends on what Kyle Kuzma is wearing tonight. If he's gonna wear a crazy pink sweater again, the Pelicans, the Pelicans are gonna win by 20. But if he's gonna wear normal people clothing, I think Washington is in a great bounce back spot. Again, they're on a road, so that is a little risky. But it's not like New Orleans has a good home court advantage anyway. So I lean the Wizards here. They're the better team. I know they're on the road, but give me the bounce back spot with Washington, with the caveat Kyle Kuzma has to be wearing normal people clothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call. Like I said, it's a stay away game for me, but I would assume the Wiz get this done. All right, Jazz Thunder, another huge spread here, but it's for our boys, they say. Do the Fighting Thunder cover this 13 points? I hate fading the Jazz during the regular season. I made myself a promise last night because I faded Gonzaga. I have like a 3-team list. I don't care who they're playing. I don't care if they're playing, the Water Boys on the court instead of the real team. I just can't fade them. I think the Jazz are one of those regular season teams because I see these big spreads and I'm like, the Jazz aren't that good, right? And then they go out and they win by 35. So what's your thoughts on this?
I think the secret is out, Dead. OKC has covered in 4 straight games, and I think 2 of them have been without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's out again today. It's a big spread again. I think we got to roll with our boys, man. I'm sorry. Like it's hard to fade the Jazz. They are elite, especially in the regular season, but OKC is just a covering machine right now. Give me OKC.
Yeah, I mean, it's a spot where I'm with you here. I think that again, am I going to take this? Probably not. Do I lean hard with the Thunder? Yes. I just have some PTSD from fading the Jazz and money. All right, let's get into the last 3 games real quick. AC, we'll reset the room before just to remind everyone of our sponsor here at 7 Stack Sports. Make sure y'all follow them on Twitter at 7 Stack Sports. Big time Thanksgiving, Black Friday promo.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of everything right now. We have a $2,000 giveaway that we're in the midst of. So, AC and I will probably be hyping that up, retweeting that out again at some point this evening. But we want to thank our friends at 7 Stack Sports. Remember, AC and I are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This week with the holiday, we will not be in on Friday, but we do hope that everybody has obviously a great Thanksgiving and Black Friday. All right, AC, let's get to these final 3 games before we call it a day and close up shop. Hawks and Spurs. Interesting line here because, we've mentioned, hey, the Hawks are great, but not on the road. So 4-12 Spurs +4. To me, this says Spurs. What do you think?
It does say Spurs. I'm gonna lay off from it. I thought it was gonna be a Hawks play, but you know how I like DeAndre Hunter. He's out today, and he's one of those guys that can really match up really well against the Spurs because, like you said, the Spurs have like 10 guys that play the same position. That same position is what DeAndre Hunter plays. Again, you can't back the Hawks on the road. This is a Spurs play, but for me, officially, I'm gonna lay off.
Yeah, it's a tough call for me. I was higher on the Spurs team coming into the year. I'm a little disappointed with them. I actually took their team total win over, but
Same.
it's still in play though because it's so. I mean, what was it, like 26 and a half? Like
They just need to go on a streak. Yeah, they just need to win like 5 straight.
I had the Cardinals team total over baseball this year, and remember they
Oh
won.
my gosh, yeah.
At this point, I believe any future is possible in that regard. But I'm with you. I think they're a tough team to back. Don't know if I'll end up doing it, but I definitely lean with it.
You're gonna get into this next game, the Kings, aren't you?
Oh no, I'm saving that for last because I don't
Okay.
want because it looks like a Kings play. So I'm not even talking about it.
Gosh.
Warriors and Sixers, my Sixers, stunning the Kings last time out. Again, the Sixers have had a COVID issue like all season. I don't know why, but like of course we get hit with this. You got Tobias questionable, Seth questionable, Embiid and Danny Green obviously will not play. But I mean, what's your thoughts on this game? Because 10.5, if they play, is a lot. If Tobias goes and Seth go, they have enough scoring, I think, to stay within that number. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, there's going to be one streak that ends tonight. Sixers have covered in 3 straight games. All 3 games they were dogs. And the Warriors have covered in 4 straight games. 3 of 4 of them they were favorites. So one of those streaks are going to end tonight. There's so much value with the Sixers team. When it's led by Tyrese Maxey and Thibault, like, dude, that is so much athleticism. That's so much dog in the backcourt. Like, it's really hard for teams to combat that. But it's the Warriors. Potentially, the best guard in the NBA, Steph Curry, and the best guard off the bench is Jordan Poole. Like these are horses here on the Warriors. So this is going to be a tough matchup. I don't know. Maybe I might lean the under because maybe I think Thibault and Maxey kind of neutralizes those guys, but I don't have an angle on the side at all, Dad.
It's a tough call. I mean, like I said, as a Sixer fan, you never try and include any bias into the decision, obviously. And this team this season, coming into the year, still had reasonable expectations. We know the Simmons news; he's not going to play again for the Sixers. It's kind of just what can they get for him if they want to hold on to him and just kind of rock with what they have. But the more notable thing is like Embiid hasn't played in weeks. Tobias has been out over half.
It's such a strange season, man.
It's such a weird year. I mean, even capping, you and I always talk about it. Capping an NBA game early is so difficult, not only because of the injury report, but then these guys just pop up on the injury report. Like we could be talking about, the Sixers Warriors, and Steph's not a guy who typically does this, but for example, he could end up out, at a later time. So NBA has always been frustrating with injury news to cap. It's way worse this season because of COVID. I mean, it's. We talked about the Clippers yesterday. There was a fake COVID scare, and nothing ended up really happening. But, you always have to keep an eye on it. All right, Asa, before we close this up and send everybody off for the Thanksgiving holiday, we're going to include our favorite team last, the Sacramento and the Portland Trail Blazers. Blazers, they turn into the best team in the league when they're home, right? I mean, they're electric at home.
Dad, it's such a Kings play. It's such a Kings screamer. If you see me text our group chat, hey, it's Kings tonight, don't let me bet it, man.
I'm not going near it for a reason of that. Like I said, there's teams that you just don't win with, and they'll win, right? We won't bet it, and they'll win by like 25.
Yep.
But at least we didn't get our hands dirty with them and have to suffer through it. I can't back the Kings right now for that reason. Like when they played the Sixers, I never saw a team just not care. Like it was like the ball, like rebounding. There was no competitiveness, no defense. They're not a great shooting team to begin with. Like Fox isn't a great shooter. I think Halliburton's becoming a better one, but coming out like he wasn't scouted as a great shooter. He's good at the basket driving. Obviously, we were talking about our thing with Buddy Hield. Yes, is he a really good shooter? But then it's like Mo Harkless, Rashawn Holmes. Like they don't have shooting on that floor. I don't know. I'm staying away from it. I'm not going near it because I think this is a terrifying game. But Blazers suck on the road. Line says Kings. I'm staying away.
It's a screamer, man. Kings have lost 4 straight. They've only made 3-pointers here. 7 in the previous game, 10, 9, and 10. So they are shooting super poorly, less than 40% from the field in the last 4. And the Blazers are rolling. Of course, that was at in Portland at home, like Dad alluded to. They've won 4 straight. It is the second night of a back-to-back for them, and they're traveling. So that is a big advantage for the Kings. It's a Kings screamer, like I said, but I can't do it. Maybe I'll do it like without telling you guys secretly and then like show you a ticket afterwards. But man, the Kings PTSD, man.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, AC. Well, we appreciate everybody for hopping on this show with us. Two in the zone, myself, Analytics Capper, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Again, just a reminder for all of our loyal viewers, we will not be on Friday. If you guys do have any questions, though, feel free, obviously shoot us messages with some games. It is the holiday season, so we'll get back at an according time, but we hope everybody has obviously a fantastic Thanksgiving. Be safe, especially tonight, AC. Big night for a lot of people going out, so guys, please be mindful. No drinking, driving. Be safe for tonight. AC, any closing remarks before we call it a day?
No, Dad, you hit it. You hit everything on the mark there. Thank you, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, guys.